right, it's 11 o'clock, so we'll get started. Scott, what do we got going on this week?
Thanks, Mayor. Council have a packed agenda. You have 5 speakers on the public agenda. This looks like several of them are for climate action, and then a couple of others there as well. Page 2, obviously the big item under new business is the 2022 annual budget and 22 through 31 capital improvement plan. I think you have, as Elizabeth said, you have the budget in front of you, but we're just still printing the capital improvement plan. As soon as we get that, we'll get that out to you as well. So this would set the public hearing for the August 24th meeting. Page 3, 2 items.
Scott, does this also set the, would there be action to set the mill rate at this meeting?
Yeah, you'll see down there in the text of the body there, it says probably 3/4 of the way down. Let's see, set the maximum amount of taxes levied for self-supporting, that's the SMID, and then the levy 6.713.
So that would be the action to set it at that cap at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's correct.
And
So
we couldn't, if approved, we couldn't change it.
That's correct. So that's what we do at the first meeting. That's what the recommended action at the first meeting is to set the maximum taxes to be levied. And then the other action at that meeting was different from prior years is they will be directing staff to provide the indication regarding the revenue neutral rate to the Sedgwick County Clerk.
That was my follow-up. This also
Yes.
asks for an increase of that revenue neutral rate from
Right.
6.56 to 6.712.
3.
Right, so on the general fund, we're leaving the mill levy flat, and then for the sake of the technical side of the revenue neutral rate, we're going 100 higher on the Schmid, and then, but if you go into the budget book, you'll notice that we have a budget page that's flat for the Schmid.
Right, but if the idea was to not have an increase and keep that revenue neutral rate flat, we would have to find a difference of almost $700,000. Is that the way I understand that? No, not just the SMID, but the, yeah, for the SMID.
Elizabeth? It's Vanessa, you can go to the computer and grab one.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, Councilmember Fry, it's about $100 million.
Yeah. How much?
And one reason we're doing that is for 2 reasons. One is to provide you flexibility once you decide ultimately to levy for the SMID. But the second reason is we're concerned about complying with state law. The state law is new. We've been advised by everyone to submit the form that we're going to exceed the tax neutral rate, even if we don't intend to. So in the case of the SMID, like I said, it's about $180. The budget book is based on keeping the mill levy flat. What you will approve Tuesday assumes that you go to the revenue neutral rate, which technically would increase the mill levy. So again, that's not what we're recommending to staff.
Okay.
But we will ask you to approve that form to provide maximum flexibility to you and make sure we can comply with state law. I know it's very
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's very new for everybody, so that's why I'm asking these questions, to be very clear. So, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Page 2.
Moving right along before you have more questions.
We'll wait. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Page 2, item 2, which is letter of intent for Air Capital Flight Line. This is really on behalf of Spirit Aerosystems because of their additional new work that they're generating. In addition to commercial aircraft work, they're also doing additional defense and other activities. They've been successful in generating more work, so they need to expand one of the buildings at Flight Line by 55,000 square feet. They'll add additional 150 employees at an average wage of $100,000. Item 3 is an IRB with MWCB, which is similar to the previous one, which is they're doing it on behalf of Deloitte Industries. I think many of you had met with Deloitte representatives earlier this week or in the past. They have decided to locate their new smart factory, the first in the nation, at WSU on the Innovation Campus. They're taking 40,000 square feet of a recently completed 53,000 square feet. They would add 15 jobs at an average rate of $100,000 per staff. The interesting thing about this is it's not just Deloitte themselves being there, but it's their effort to bring in both national, international clients, as well as existing Wichita area business can utilize the Smart Factory, and the Smart Factory is an opportunity for business to go in and figure out how to, I'll call it, be smarter about their manufacturing efforts, what's manufacturing 2.0 or 3.0. This IRB would be for a property tax abatement and construction sales tax abatement as well. Items 4, 5, and 6 are facade closeouts.
Scott,
Yeah.
this is Jeff. Hey, on that item, did you get my email about that? About asking about the additional incentives on the Innovation Campus?
Yes. Good question, Councilmember Blubaugh. The previous, I think it was the end of 1920, we did a similar IRB for NetApp, and I can check with staff there. I think there's 1 or 2 additional prior to NetApp, but I'll go back and check. The question Councilmember Blubaugh asked was, have we provided any other incentives on the Innovation Campus beyond the initial infrastructure improvements we partnered with WSU to do out there? And so council has that discretion to, like they did at NetApp and others, if they want to provide additional incentives, such as an IRB to specific companies that locate on the Innovation Campus. Does that help, Councilmember Blubaugh?
Yeah, Scott, what's the major benefit? Isn't it already property tax exempt from being on the school property, or is that not correct? Help me understand what the major incentive is for them doing the IRB.
Yeah, and I'll do my best, because that's where bond counsel is really helping out. If they're on campus, the ground is exempt, but the improvements are not exempt. So the property tax abatement is on the improvements, so the building. Now they'll still pay, since the building had recently been done, it is on the tax roll, and that portion will remain payable by Deloitte and the balance of the property by the building owner. With the property tax abatement for Deloitte would simply be their portion of the building for the duration of the 10 years. That'll be a flat tax rate. The remaining portion of the building, as the valuation increases, that pilot payment will increase on the remaining amount of the space. So there's a 10-year property tax abatement, but also construction tax abatement, construction sales tax. They're investing about $20 million in this smart factory, so the construction sales tax exemption would go on eligible costs for construction sales tax exemption. Does that help, council member?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Items 4, 5, and 6 on page 3 and 4 are facade closeouts. One is item 4, if you think of the former Topeka Firehouse, that's fireworks. And then I believe the one on East Douglas, I think it's, I'm trying to picture that. I think that might be the insurance building out east. And then the one 1029 West Douglas is the one at, I think, Seneca and Douglas. They're on the south side. Yep. So good improvements. Item 7 is capital improvement design agreements for multiple bridges and arterial streets and water main dead ends. So good progress there. Item 8 and 9, this is related to the Chester Lewis Reflection Park project. Item 8 sets up the ability to receive private donation for an additional $250,000 to go into the park. In addition, you may have heard that Design Council approved up to $150,000 for public art as well to go into that park. So the park's budget will increase from 1.3 million to 1.7 million with these 2 additions. And then item 9 is the actual artist contracts with the artists to do the public art in the park. Moving on to page 5, nothing on page 5.
Hey, Scott.
Yes.
I just have a question. Do you know what the process was for the Parks Foundation to make that decision? No, for the additional budget.
Yeah, Troy's here.
So we worked with WDDC, and they have some donors from downtown that would like to donate to the project. And so they approached the Park Foundation with this process of the money going through the Park Foundation And at that time, that was $150,000. The Park Foundation has said they're going to give $100,000 from the Parks for Plates money to go into the park, so that's a total of $250,000.
So how much is coming out of the Parks Foundation? I'm confused.
$100,000 from the Plates for Parks.
Okay.
program, But $150,000 is coming from private donors.
Private, okay.
Through
All right.
through downtown, and they're going to pass that through there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nothing on page 5. Top of page 6. This is rental assistant or RAD conversion commitment. This is kind of the next step as we inch closer to coming to an agreement on that RAD program. Sally, anything to add on that? I know this is a big project for you.
No, nothing to add. This is just the step in order for them to schedule the closing and secure the rate.
Perfect. Page 7, just a note there on item 3, is received a grant from KDOT for $1.42 million. This is over 2 years to assist on transit services here with the city. I think that's all on page 7 I have. Page 8, just note, item 6, this is to allow Patrol South to continue to have some space there in Old Town area. That's item 6 at 230 North Mosley. And I believe,
That's where they're already located.
yes, it's just a continuation. And I believe, Mayor, Council, I don't have anything else on 9, and actually on page 10, this is the airport agenda items. If you may remember, a few years ago, Honeywell left the airport, and for a while, Spirit was doing ventilators out there. That ended. It's been vacant. Honeywell continues to pay the lease, but recently, Millennium Aircraft has entered into agreement to take on that lease from Honeywell. Some of you may know, Millennium is actually in Councilmember Bluebaugh's district. They what's the best word? They do aircraft interior seats. They design, manufacture, and install aircraft interior seats. So it's good. They'll keep their current location that's off airport, just on the west side of Tyler, and also take this additional space. This will be expansion for them. No additional revenue to the city or to the airport, simply because Honeywell was responsible for that. They're just taking on, Millennium's just taking on that assignment now. So good. With that, Mayor, Council, those are all the items I have to review.
Any questions for staff? Announcements for the good of the body. Did well, Scott. Did well. We're adjourned.